The Cologne Major invites have finally been sent out to 32 teams, but unfortunately, it was only 32 teams, and that means there was a bunch that were left out. Realistically, there was like 500 teams that were left out, but today we are going to talk about the most important teams, at least in my opinion, who ended up missing out on the biggest event of the year, what kind of went wrong with them, and what is next for all of these teams. And I feel like there is no better place to start than maybe the most entertaining team in all of Counter-Strike. FaZe. FaZe officially missed the Cologne Major after bombing out of Draculan, losing 1-2 to Passion UA and 0-2 to Fnatic. Two teams we will be talking about later in this video. They then snuck into a tier 8 Serbian LAN to try and save themselves. This had given them hope that maybe they weren't actually officially eliminated like everyone thought, but then they lost in the finals to Big 1-2 and were once again eliminated from the Cologne Major for the second time in like a 1 week span. After this, they then flew out to PGL Bucharest to get 0-2'd by Inner Circle. And well, let me just say, this current iteration of the FaZe roster looks completely dead. And while I have made an entire video talking about FaZe, if you really want to know what I think they should do, you can go look at that video. I think we all know one thing for certain, and that is that Brokey will not be with this team after the Cologne Major. At least there's no possible universe where he should be. If he's still on the roster... Oh my days. Now, there have been rumors that maybe Woxic will join FaZe, which is kind of wild because we also heard a rumor that maybe Alexi B and Molodoy is joining, but that had to be an April Fool's joke. There's no fucking way that's real. But if Woxic is actually leaving, it makes more sense. And, I mean, if FaZe do replace Brokey with Woxic, it is objectively, without a doubt, an upgrade. You really can't be any worse than Brokey has been recently. Against top 20 teams in 2026, he has a 0.83 rating. Like, he's without a doubt the worst opera in all of tier 1 right now. And so would this move make FaZe better? Yes, but I still don't think this is the route that FaZe should go.
1 week later.
Shame on me for not realizing we'd have an entire roster mania 2 months before the Cologne Major start. Guys, I'm going to be jumping in at different points throughout this video because, well, we've already seen a shit ton of moves happen, and we've gotten a couple answers to the questions I'm asking in this video. FaZe has already made a move, and that's sending Kerrigan over to Falcons and replacing him with Netanyahu, and Twist will be taking over as the team's IGL. Now, I do still think what I said before this is valid. I think we're gonna see FaZe make more moves after Cologne, and I do think Brokey is still gonna be gone, but there's not really a ton of good options to replace him with right now, and there will be a lot better ones that are available after Cologne, so I get keeping him for now. You know, what's the point of adding someone you're just gonna replace in a month anyways? It's not like they have, you know, a major to compete at, so you might as well just hold out for the time being. And well, there's a lot here to talk about. In my FaZe video, my recommendation for FaZe was I think they need a true anchor support player on the roster. And well, that's exactly what NightTU is. I think he is a good fit, to be honest. He's still very young. He hasn't had a chance on a good tier 1 team. And well, after playing on FaZe, he's still not going to have a chance on a good tier 1 team. But yeah, FaZe is a better opportunity than ENCE was. And I mean, I do really like this. He's one of the better anchor prospects in the scene, I feel like. I'm sure he was fairly cheap, and they haven't actually added him. He's just a stand-in for right now, but I do think they're kind of trialing him to see how he fits in with the team, and if he does play well, I am assuming they're gonna sign him full-time. And like I said, I like this move. I really do. I'm assuming we're also gonna see Jacob switching up a lot of his CT roles. We'll see if he plays better when he's in more comfortable positions. Along with this, FaZe have also signed NKJ as their coach. I really don't have that much to say about him. We'll just have to wait and see. And well, maybe the biggest talking point is Twist is back to IGL after he formerly called on Liquid. And here's the deal with this. For starters, I didn't mind Twist becoming a caller, but that was under Kerrigan. I was hoping Kerrigan would just retire and stay with FaZe and become their coach, and I feel like Twist under Kerrigan would be a much better caller than what he was on Liquid, but we're not gonna have that. And here's what I have to say. If FaZe weren't going to pick up a caller, Twist is the most capable on the entire team of this, so I think it does make sense. And while I don't think he was a good caller on Liquid, I do think we also gotta point out that the last time Liquid even looked halfway decent was when he was calling for them. It was when they made the playoffs in Shanghai, and they haven't even been close to a major playoff since then. So I mean, I don't know. Like I said, that's not me saying he's gonna be a good caller, but out of everyone on the team that could have done it, like I said, he's the most capable. It does make the most sense for the time being. But yeah, for the most part, I think we gotta wait and see what they do over the next few months, because at the moment it feels like they're just fielding a team to field a team, and we'll really see what they want to do after Cologne.
Hello guys, it's me, Garmour. The first time you've ever seen me in person before.
before. If you guys would like to support me or the stuff that I do here, check out the new long-term sponsor of the Garmour YouTube channel, SkinSwap. SkinSwap is the #1 place to trade your Rust or Counter-Strike skins for new ones where you can instantly upgrade your inventory. And if you use my code Garmour, you can get up to $50 on a free skin and a 3% lifetime selling bonus. And now you can easily buy skins off of the Chinese marketplace for cheaper prices than you ever could on the Western marketplaces. I truly think this is the best feature on any skin trading website, but if you are looking to sell, you can sell your skins for crypto, PayPal, Venmo, and a bunch of other withdrawal methods. Along with this, SkinSwap has a vault system now, which makes it the most rewarding skin trading website. And of course, don't forget the giveaways. And I think that's it. Thank you to them. Thank you to you guys. And back to the video. The next team I'm going to be talking about is Passion UA. They didn't really have a chance to make Cologne. There's like a slim chance that they were going to make it if they won the tournament they were in. Urban Riga opened season 4. They came in second. If they won, there was like a 5% chance. I don't know. It was a whole thing. I don't know how VRS all works. But overall, Passion UA have not really been great in 2026. After signing the complexity core of JT, NickX, Hulzerk, and Grim, the only 2 remaining players is currently JT and Nicholas X. Hulzerk has been replaced by Try. Grim has been replaced by Senzu. And Kavem originally replaced 6C, but he's been on Passion UA since they signed the complexity core. And they are the all-magical 1 player from every part of the globe, damn near. Africa, South America, Asia, Europe, and North America. And with a team this gimmicky, my take was always it's going to take them quite a bit of time. And I think we are currently seeing that, yes, it's going to take this team quite a bit of time if it ever works out. So far, what we've seen from them is Senzu still can play. Senzu is still a beast. Try has been not as insane as you would like him to be, but he hasn't been horrible either. I just think if you are replacing Hulzerk, you kind of want, you know, a bigger uptick in form. Kavem has been fine. And I would say the biggest question mark to a lot of people right now is NickX. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't really see Passion UA making a roster move after Cologne. If they were to make one, it would probably be Kavem or NickX. But I think they do kind of let this roster cook until at least the end of 2026. And then they kind of, you know, see where they're at from there. I do think it is still too early to really judge this roster. The only negative thing that I really have to say is maybe going into this project, JT was being slightly overrated by a majority of people. The main argument for him is he's always been a great caller. He just didn't really have the pieces to make it work. And I do get this is kind of a scuffed ass gimmicky team, but we've never really seen a JT led team be really highly ranked in the world and consistently good. Like, don't get me wrong, there has been a couple spikes in complexity's form while JT has been calling, especially at the start of CS2. But I do feel like CS2 was kind of a strange time. A lot of teams were transitioning to the game. It's just kind of fluky in my opinion. I don't know. I just feel like I personally have never been super impressed by JT just because his teams have never been super consistent. I do get there have been some really good peaks, like even at the previous Budapest major. But overall, I guess what I'm trying to say is I've just never really seen the ceiling that other people do. And that is one of the main reasons I'm not 100% buying into this Passion UA project. Now, like I have always said, I do want it to work. I think it's a really interesting and kind of cool team, but I'm not 100% sold on it. And I also do think I wouldn't necessarily be mad if NickX is replaced. I do really think he is a good player, especially if he played in different roles on a local NA team. So if Nicholas wants to come back home to us, listen, it's fine by me. I'm not gonna complain. And I would understand getting a more experienced anchor support player in the team. The next team I'm gonna talk about is NIP. And my God, can we please get X Kaspersky out of jail? I mean, that's pretty much just my entire takeaway for this part of the video. I think even if NIP did squeak their way into the major, they wouldn't have performed super well. And it's kind of annoying because I've been waiting for NIP to break out for the longest time now. I keep thinking in the back of my head, like, I really like this project. I like the players on the team. Surely, eventually they break into tier 1 and start competing, but they just kind of never do. They've kind of been stuck in the tier 1.5 to really good tier 2 team space. And it's kind of annoying to me because I keep waiting and they just don't do it. And it's especially annoying when I watch X Kaspersky play. And he literally is one of the most insane young players in the game right now. And NIP overall just isn't that good. Now, they did kind of fairly recently bring in Karn for U-Jerks. And I really did like Karn on Inner Circle. But like since joining the team, he's been fine. NIP, you signed Stown as your main opper. That's how bad the current tier 1 opping talent is in this game. And I don't want to overly shit on them too much because who knows, maybe he does turn out to be a good opper. Device was a rifler at first too. I guess. So maybe he does transition to become this like genuinely good top 10 opera in the world. But at the same time, like I said, I don't really blame them because there is a severe lack of opping talent in the scene right now. And I do think if he can literally just be more consistent than Wrinkle was, NIP should get at least marginally better. I am still kind of wondering how much longer Snappy has playing under this team. He is going to be turning 36 soon. And I do think, same thing that I said about Kerrigan, it would be nice if he just became a coach. I don't know if he becomes coach of NIP, but if he does, sure. And then to replace him, in my opinion, there's two really great options, and that's either Kixin or Shui. Take your pick. I know for a fact Kixin's stock is going to be higher right now, and he probably would be a pretty decent fit for the team, but I also do think Shui deserves a chance to try and reinvent himself on a lower ranked team in the world. And at the moment of me recording, NIP is the number 28 ranked VRS team, which I do think is a fine range to take a shot on him. You know, it's not like it's a top 10 team in the world taking a shot on Shui, and it's like, oh my god, what are you doing? You guys missed the Cologne Major. I feel you can take a chance on a still very young caller that had a downturn in Liquid. And I mean, then again, like, it is Liquid he's playing on. So I don't know. I would say minus Snappy plus Kixin Shui at some point would be good for this team. We'll see how Stown does. Like I said, I still feel kind of weird about it. Like, he's probably not going to be horrible. Stown isn't a bad player, but I do think there is a very, very large chance of him getting diabolically exposed against any, I don't know, top 15 team in the world. But who knows? Maybe he proves me wrong. The next team I'm going to talk about is Rare Atom. You know, the Rare Atom fall off is pretty unfortunate to see, most people might think. And well, in my opinion, the only way forward for them is to completely disband. Next up is my personal GOATs, 100 Thieves. They actually had a very small chance to make the major, despite being a brand new team with a total of 0 VRS points to start this season. But I would say overall, 2026 has been a huge success for them so far. They're already ranked as a top 50 team in the world, and if they keep grinding in tier 2, I do think it is just a matter of time before they're invited to tier 1 tournaments. I do think they'll be attending the next major, and I really don't see this roster making any moves. They just formed a few months ago, and their 3 young players of Poi, Sierra, and Agile have all been really impressive in my opinion. They've all had their moments in these tier 2 tournaments they've been playing. The only really weak point of the team, I guess you could say, is Device, but I really don't see them replacing Device, at least not this early, especially when he is also one of the players they probably put the most money into. You know, I'm sure it was Device and Rain whose buyouts were huge, and then the other 3 younger players were definitely cheaper. So I think they keep him for at least the entirety of 2026, and they kind of see what happens at the Singapore Major. If they do end up missing the Singapore Major, I could totally see them making roster moves, but I think at least as of right now, 100 Thieves is on a pretty good trajectory, and they're not going to do anything. The next team I want to talk about is actually Wildcard, and that's because, forgive me fellas, even after they destroyed their old promising roster and they fully rebuilt from the ground up, used ChatGPT in some of their decision makings, I'm kind of intrigued by their new team. It's true. I'm kind of intrigued. I think Rek is very good. He recently dominated Paravision and still lost 0-2. Well, at least in one map in, 8 overtimes. Hext might genuinely be one of the most underrated NA talents in the entire scene right now. I thought his stint at M80 was incredibly good, and I'm still being impressed by him on Wildcard. I could easily see him move up to a better team, but I do think he will stick on Wildcard for the foreseeable future. And then because NA has no IGL or opping talent, we of course have Serbian IGL man in 2026 MHL. And let me tell you what, I don't mind MHL. I don't mind Nemanja. I was actually fairly impressed by his time on Zero Tenacity. They were a really good tier 2 team for a very long time. And while being the IGL, he also posted a 1.11 rating over his 4 years on the team. So I really do think taking a chance on him is not a bad idea at all. And I mean, as the IGL of Ill Will, they were damn near going to make the major. So like, I do think he is fairly good. And then Peeping is, if you're gonna replace anyone, it's probably gonna be Peeping. Since joining Wildcard, his rating against top 20 teams is a 0.81, and I do get they were probably losing most of those games, but like, I don't know, that's still pretty rough. For comparison, Hext has a 102 and Rek has a 1.0, so it's a pretty big drop. So I don't know, I do think keeping the core of the 2 Europeans, Rek and Hext, is a good play, and then find anyone else for Peeping. Guys, they got anyone else. The move is fine. They can't be any worse. Good shit, fellas. The next team I'm going to talk about is OG, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was pretty hyped for OG after they got Cadian, and as the months went on, I kind of just forgot that this team existed. They recently added Body from 3D Max, and I don't know, it doesn't look like they've been really doing that good in Tier 2. They're currently ranked right outside of number 60 in the VRS rankings. You know, it looks like the two Swedish players on the team have been pretty good in 2026. But other than that, like, I don't know what the fuck you do, what else you do with this team. I guess you can replace Eras Dose. I mean, fuck, man. Let's just add Nut to this team. You know what I'm saying, boys? God bless Nut. I'm sure he could do great things under Cadian. The next team I want to talk about is Team Simple, Bertram Clyde Gaming, or if you want to use his initials, BC. Bertram Clyde Gaming is a disaster. Signing the Saw Core, disastrous move. Anyone with eyeballs and a brain could tell you, disastrous move. Nobody expected the move to work, but I don't think anyone expected it to be as bad as it has been. You know, the only reason they bought the core, in my opinion, was for the VRS points, and they were going to start replacing players as soon as possible. But congratulations, fellas. You have dropped so far in the VRS rankings. It was basically just a waste of money to even buy the Saw Core, and you have made 0 replacements. Bertram Clyde Gaming, you have made the expected roster moves. Muterus is gone, Aragorn is gone, and now you are left with Simple, Electronic, and Crazy. Now, I'm sure within 24 hours of me uploading this video, BC.Game is going to announce their new roster, so I don't want to go into too crazy of a speculation of who they'll get. They have signed No Cries as a sub, but that's only for Atlanta. He's not actually joining the team. The CEO of Bertram Clyde Gaming also said that Electronic will not IGL, so they're looking for a caller and another rifler, and they're not going to buy out another core, so they're just going to work their way up from tier 2, it seems. So realistically, who could it be? I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this one is tough because it does seem like Bertram Clyde is willing to dish out money to anyone. Like they will try and get anyone out of tier 1 if they can. And so in my opinion, any player who isn't going to Cologne is on the table because it sounds like they're gonna announce their roster very soon, and I don't see anyone who's playing at the major accepting an offer from them at this point. It makes no sense. If I'm wrong, hey man, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But then at the same time, that doesn't leave them with that many options. The first one that's going to come to a lot of people's mind is Kixen. But personally, after what Kixen did on Falcons, I don't love him with Simple and Electronic. I'd love to see Kixen on a team like NIP way more. I just don't know if Kixen playing on a team with super big egos necessarily is going to work. We kind of already saw that on Falcons and it was meh. And so realistically, this leaves Chopper coming out of retirement, and that's literally the only dude I can even fathom right now. Actually, you know what it could be? It could be Magisk. Bertram Clyde CEO did say Magisk was surely not gonna go to Mouse. How else would he know that? I've connected the dots. Final answer, Magisk. And then God, who else could it be? Flit, maybe? Magisk and Flit? Next up is Bestia, and yikes. All I have to say is I do feel sad for them. This is the second major in a row. They have been on the cusp. The first time they messed up the visas, they literally made it and messed up the visas and couldn't go. Well, I guess they did skip one. That was the Austin major. Crazy butterfly effect as well, because now look at Legacy. You know, they weren't good enough to make Budapest, and now literally by like 1 spot in the VRS rankings, they barely miss out on the last America spot to Liquid, and they were close, man. It was after coming in second, and third to fourth place at 3 consecutive tournaments, but at the same time, if they really wanted to go, I guess they should have just probably won one. Yeah, I'm not gonna make any suggestions for this team. I don't know that much about tier 2 South America. I'm just you know I just wanted to say it really stinks for you guys. They can't keep being on the cusp and not making it, man. They're gonna crash the fuck out. They already did after Austin, but I mean, you know, a team can only take so much. Next up is Fnatic. Such a weird team, man. They're just Ukrainian and Crims. Just Ukrainian children and Crims. When you go to look at their VRS ranking, it's literally just Passion UA that you see because it's for the core. You know, Fnatic just slowly became the old Passion UA team. And it is actually pretty brutal, man, because after they signed Fear, because of, you know, the good Passion UA major run, they were initially ranked around number 24 on the VRS rankings. And they did jump up for a bit after initially kind of falling off. I think they peaked at what, number 19 in the world. But then they lose Blame F to Big. And I mean, the team just has been plummeting. They have been just brutally plummeting. They're currently ranked number 77 in the world. So, I mean, this is probably the worst iteration of Fnatic we have ever seen. And you gave the keys of the team to a young Ukrainian, and it's like the team was infected with a little virus, and it just spread. And now the entire team is young Ukrainians. I feel it's only a matter of time until Crims is also replaced by a Ukrainian, truly. And I mean, like at this point, you might as well, so they can just speak their language. They don't have to speak English because they have have to be speaking English only because Crims is there. It truly is a matter of time before he's replaced. And so I'm not saying Fnatic should, but I do think Crims is, you know, the unemployment squadron is knocking on his door. I don't know who replaces him. Literally just find any Ukrainian 18-year-old on FaceIt. Next is a team a lot of people were probably expecting to make this major, and that's Mythic with Flom. I'm sure you guys got the next one. No stress. Next is Virtus.pro. They signed Mir as IGL and then pretty much just their academy team. Do I think this team is gonna work? No. Do I think Virtus.pro is fucked? Yes. What do they do going forward? They're in such deep shit at this point. I really don't know. You know, at the time of me recording this, they have not played an event until their old team completely imploded. It's been like 2 months now. So you know, they're gonna have to work their way up from tier 2. Like, I don't know, man. They're gonna have to work their way up from tier 2, but from the looks of it, they are just a tier 2 team now. I don't think they're going to be good enough to make the next major. I don't know what they do. Maybe they make roster moves. VP is just a shit show at this point. And last, and probably least, at least, oh, they're tied with VP for least, is ENCE. But I don't want to shit on ENCE too badly, because don't get me wrong, I do actually respect what they're doing. Well, mostly. I mostly respect what they're doing. They completely scrapped their international team and are back to being a majority Finnish team. This, I think, is actually really cool. I like this. The main question now is, will they find another gem in tier 2 like they originally found with Alexi B? And well, I just don't think it's very easy to find an Alexi B sitting around, so I'm leaning towards no. And another thing I don't understand, why the fuck was Pody benched if you're going back to a full Finnish team? Instead, he was replaced by Millert, whose first name is Alexi. No fucking wonder. They already found him. But maybe Alexi number 2 is better. I don't know. In tier 2, he's posted a 1.04 rating in 2026. So, like, ENCE is a cool situation. I would like for them, even though his name is Alexi, to still replace him with Pody and build a team around Pody if they're going to do anything. I don't know who the caller on the team is now. Let's see if it's listed anywhere. The new IGL for ENCE is Schwarz, the only non-Finnish player on the team. He's from Georgia. Let's go, Schwartz. Big fan of Atlanta. But yeah, I don't know, ENCE. All I ask is to put Pody back in the team, and then I genuinely will be rooting for you in tier 2. I think having a full Finnish team again is a very cool thing. Anyways, that's it for me, fellas. Let me know what you guys think down below. What should all these teams do? Maybe FaZe should be like Rare Atom and just disband it. I would say it's a good option. Nah, bro. Even as a hater, I would be sad if FaZe disbanded. It's like when Joker kills Batman and he has no purpose in life. If FaZe disbanded, who would I hate watch? I need FaZe to at least be semi-competent and, you know, in the game still. Otherwise, I have no purpose. Yeah, if you guys liking the video, like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to be notified. And that's it for me, fellas. I will see you guys next time.